So I call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. Thank you very much. My name is Paul Hinkle, Mayor Pro Tem. Our Mayor, T. Ross Young, is not able to be with us tonight, so I will be conducting the meeting in his stead. And with that, I will move to our second order of business, which is the invocation. And I think Mr. Austin Wall will present that for us.
That's right. Well, thank you for this time together. Thank you for this town. I know everybody come together and make this town even better than it is. So we're just going to do this rest of the week. I'll just go out and
Amen. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, our next order of business, the amendments to tonight's agenda. And I will ask council members first, and then I'll give staff a chance to make suggestions. So, do you have any suggested amendments from council? I'm not hearing any. I will ask staff, our town manager, if he has any.
We have, I'll try it again. This didn't seem to be working. We have several, if you all will. The first one is we would like to add a request for a street closure by Barium Springs HOA for a neighborhood event, and that would be item number 25. The next one is on agenda item number 14. Quarterly report of J. Hoyt Hayes Memorial Troutman Library. The library manager requested that be removed. She could not make it tonight. Agenda item number 17, request annexation. Item number of AX 23-05, which would also be item number 18, the rezoning request CZRM 2302, which would be Sterling Properties of Morrisville. The request is made by MI Homes to defer to the council's October meeting. Also, agenda item number 21, request by C&H Investment Holdings that fines levied in the amount of $300 for code violation on 3 vacant lots on Rumpel Street be waived. He is also requesting deferment to October meeting to appear. Agenda item number 22, development case number DA 2301, Wakefield Village. Request to be deferred until October council meeting as discussed at the council agenda briefing on Monday. Agenda item number 24, defer the appointment of an inside alternate to the Planning and Zoning Board, as we also discussed at the council agenda briefing on Monday. That concludes the staff suggested amendment.
So it's a wrap. We'll see you in October.
Yes, sir, that's for sure.
I do have one question. I know what came up Monday, just to be clear, we don't need motions for any of those deferments.
We need a motion for all of those.
Okay, you
can
just want to do those with consent?
You can do it by one motion, but we need a motion for all of those.
Perfect.
Just be part of minutes, adjustment. All right, council, you have heard the suggested adjustments from staff, and I will now ask for an amendment to either adopt tonight's agenda with the suggested amendments, or whatever be your pleasure.
I'll make a motion that we adopt our agenda with the suggestion from staff of the deferment of 17, 18, 21, 22, and 24 for the addition of agenda item 25, marriage seasons HOA special event.
All right, we have a first, a second, any discussion?
Friendly amendment defer to October.
Okay, deferred to October.
For October,
Yeah.
all right. Duly noted. All right, any other discussion before I call for the vote? All right, all those in favor of the agenda, nice agenda with the amendments made in the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously, adjustments made, and we now have our agenda for tonight. All right, under the next item, our consent agenda for tonight. These are items that are not controversial necessarily and are suggested to be passed under one motion as a consent agenda for tonight's meeting. And I will read them out, what is included under the consent agenda very briefly for the audience. Then we will, I will call for a motion. Line 1 is approval of agenda briefing minutes, closed session minutes, again, regular meeting minutes, closed session minutes. These are from October or August 7th and August 10th. Approval to amend Town of Troutman schedule of fees. Approval for the DRB 2305 autumn leaf apartment facade review. Line 7, approval of DRB 2306 tractor supply facade review. 8, approval of ordinance 2423 title ordinance amending the Town of Troutman code ordinances prohibiting parking of vehicles in front yards on residentially zoned lots. Line 9, approval authorizing the acquisition of property located at 144 South Main Street. Purchase price of $1.5 million. Item, or line 10, approval to transfer capital reserve funds to the general fund account. Item, or line 11, approval to amend town policy number 30. And let's see, line 7, annexation request, non-contiguous of the Jabula properties, 3.5 acres. These 11 or 12 items under the consent agenda is what we are voting on tonight to adopt, so I would ask and entertain a motion in that regard.
I will make that motion, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a first and second. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of adopting tonight's consent agenda as presented, say aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimously adopted. The consent agenda has been passed. We now move to number 3, our recognition and presentation. And I will say no more and turn it over to our town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. At this time, I'm calling up Justin Monday so that he can advise you who we are going to recognize.
Come on up, Tanya. Good evening. It's my honor tonight to recognize Tanya Trent as our Employee of the Month. I told her she had to give a 20-minute speech, so we'll get started with that here in a second. But I'd just like to start off by saying congratulations to Tanya. She's been here about 11 months now, and she's done a fantastic job since she's been here. She oversees the front office and manages our day-to-day operations in the town. She's been very instrumental in starting the passport office. As I spoke a little bit on Monday, when we decided to open up the passport office, I told her that, you know, this is your thing. Town manager said you need to find somebody to be over it, and I said, well, it can't be me because I don't know anything about passports. So she learned all about it, so she knows the ins and outs. So she acts as our liaison between the town and the state. So if anything goes wrong, hasn't yet, so hopefully it won't, but if anything did, she'd be the one to handle that for us. So with starting that new office, she also had to set up our software over there so that we could, you know, use that and give everybody receipts and all that good stuff. She's also the supervisor for the passport admin employees, so she oversees the employees who do work on the passports. So they report to her first. She's also our accounts payable clerk, so unfortunately, we have bills that we have to pay as a town, so we write checks weekly, and she's the one that inputs all of that. So the department heads will code it and turn in their invoices, and I stamp it and do the pre-audit process, and then I hand that over to Tanya, and she takes care of our check writing. So it's a process with that as well. And it's been our goal for a while to have an electronic system of all of our invoices, getting those scanned in. And we were working towards that, but since Tanya's got here, that's just taken off to a new level. So we have all our invoices now scanned in nice and neat by pay date and all that good stuff. So that makes it very easy for us to go back and look and see, exactly when something was paid. Instead of having to fumble around in our accounting software, it's a lot easier just to go and pull it that way. And that also makes it easier come audit time. So I forget the number of invoices they had us pull, but probably 100, 150. So they were impressed with how quickly we were able to gather that information for them. She also works diligently with town residents on cutoffs and oversees our Blackboard messages that we send out. She also assists as needed with any utility billing work, so anything that needs to be done, she's willing to step in and help. She wears many hats, and she does a tremendous job juggling all these responsibilities. And it's very busy up front, and they all do a great job, not just Tanya, but she's done a phenomenal job, and so we want to recognize her as an Employee of the Month. And a couple comments from our coworkers. This is one from the moment I walked through the doors. Tanya has been patient, kind, and understanding. She is always willing to assist in any way that she can, and is an absolute pleasure to work with. And then another comment, Tanya will always be the first person to ask her coworkers, how can I help you? Her kind and gentle way when working with customers is genuine. Working with her is always a pleasure. So congratulations, Tanya, for being Employee of the Month, and we have your certificate here, and you'll have to get a picture. And now it's time for your speech.
I do just want to say thank you for the recognition, and each and every one of you, I appreciate everything that you guys do to help me be successful, and I enjoy it, and I love being at the town. I love being here. It's my home, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'd just like to add that when we tell anybody to come to your office over there, it is always a pleasure with all the group of y'all. Like, everybody has such a good attitude. It's really appreciated when different people in the town are mixing it to me.
I'll just tell you, it's a pleasure. I agree with Jordan 100%. You brighten up the day. You're pleasant on the phone, pleasant in person, and I can't understand anybody not wanting to deal with you, professionally or socially for that matter. But at any rate, thank you very much for your service to the town.
I just want to say congratulations, Tanya and I go way, like 40 years. I know we only look 20, but we went to Amity Elementary together, so we go back a long way. So congratulations, Tanya. We appreciate you.
Yes, congratulations, and I might add, she's the best I've seen at finding duck.
She's a keeper.
Maybe you should have said that. Ducks and worms are find a new hiding place.
You can find new strategies.
I gotta figure out where those are.
Well, thank you very much.
Justin, you want to get in it or no? Debbie, come here tonight, so I gotta send it to her.
Sorry.
Y'all come this way just a little bit, spread out behind.
I'll spread up. Okay, there we go.
Eddie, go this way.
This way, Eddie. Come on. Go this
Paul,
way.
go this way. There we go. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Right, we will skip down to item 5, new business. And let's see, I think item 15 has to do with annexation, and I will turn it over to Lynn Hare, our planning director.
Thank you, Mr. Hinkle. We have before this evening a request for an annexation. The applicant is Troutman Commercial Properties, and the property in question is located at 709 South Main Street. It's on the north side of Highway 21, directly across from Royal Oaks Drive. It's approximately 7.5 acres in size, and this is a non-contiguous annexation. The property is currently zoned RA in the county, and staff would recommend approval of this request to annex.
All right. I will ask if anybody, before I open the public hearing, I'll ask if any of the council members has a question for Ms. Hare.
And again, this is where the brick house I see on that side of the road, right? And
That's
then
correct.
out from it?
Yes.
Okay, towards the interstate.
All right, I will now open the public hearing so that the audience may have a chance to address this as well as the applicant. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Would you like to speak, sir?
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to say,
Will you please come to the podium
okay.
and give us your name?
I'm Jeff Pelchat, and I've lived in Troutman for 23 years now. Anyway, I don't really know what we're gonna do with the property yet, but Troutman needs a lot of things, I think, different new businesses. And we're gonna do our best to put something there that everybody can use, and that's about all I gotta say. All right.
Thank you
Sir,
very much.
did you sign in?
Did I sign in?
Did you sign in?
No.
If you'll sign in on the public hearing sheet, please. On
Right there on the
Okay, on the podium.
All right.
That's all right.
Thank you.
It's just a record of who spoke to us.
So I guess you're definitely looking at commercial business anyhow?
Yeah.
The retail or whatever,
Right,
not
well, yeah,
housing?
behind me is all commercial
Yeah.
anyway now, right?
Yeah. You got the
Yeah, I mean,
future
I don't see us building
warehousing.
new houses there.
Okay.
Would anyone else while someone's up there, anyone else have a question? I will now ask if anyone from the public would like to address this issue. Okay, not seeing anyone step forward. At this point in time, I will go ahead and, before I close the public hearing, anything from our end, anyone would like a statement? Of course, you can do it after I close the public hearing, but anything to say during this public hearing before I close it? And again, the audience has had their chance. All right, I would close the public hearing, and we'll ask once again, if any statements to be made before I call for a vote. All right then, okay, all right, well, in reference to this annexation, AX 2308, non-contiguous, applicant, Troutman Commercial Properties, you heard from the applicant. No one spoke for or against from the public, so I'll let you make your decision on that. That area, so I will call for the vote. Or do I have a motion? Excuse me, thank you. Do I have a motion in regard to this annexation in item 15?
Yes, sir. I'll make the motion that we consider ordinance 2523, titled an ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Troutman, North Carolina, non-contiguous.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion? All right, I will now call for the vote. All those in favor of this annexation as presented to us, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It's passed unanimously, and the property is now annexed. We will move to item number 16, which is rezoning of this property, Troutman Commercial Properties, and again, I will turn it over to Ms. Hare.
Yes, thank you. This is a rezoning request. It's the rezoning portion of the annexation that you all just approved. And again, the applicant is Troutman Commercial Properties. As I stated previously during the annexation, this is zoned RA, which is residential agricultural in the county. They are requesting that the property, now that it's in the town, be rezoned to HB, which is highway business. I want to point out that this is a traditional rezoning, not conditional, so no site plan was required as part of the application. The property owner is seeking annexation, which has been approved in rezoning, to HB for future development, which the applicant, I believe just stated, he's looking to develop this for commercial development in the near future. Again, the property is 7.5 acres in size. On your screen is an aerial photograph. There's 3 parcels involved. Those are highlighted for you on the screen. And as you can see, that brick house that Councilmember Harris noted is located there as well in the middle parcel. This is a copy of our current zoning map. The properties that we're looking at this evening are in that white area. That just indicates that they are in the county, that they are zoned RA. That purple or blue color to the rear in this area, this is an industrial zoning. This is actually the property that the town rezoned about 2 years ago for Troutman Logistics. So all of this property surrounds the site. There's also properties across Highway 21. The Tractor Supply will be going in on this property. This is zoned highway business. We've also got the Rocky Creek, or I believe they've changed the name to Norman Creek, located in this area. And they will be doing basically a mixed-use development with some apartments, townhomes. There's also commercial out parcels here. There's also other HB zoning, which is the zoning classification the applicant's requesting on the corner here. Whoops, wrong button. In this area. So there's similar zonings in the area. This is a copy of our future land use map. This is the document that council approves and that we use to look at when we consider rezonings. This property is shown as industrial, which is similar to what's around the property. As I stated, all of this was changed to industrial about 2 years ago for Troutman Logistics, and these properties were pulled into that industrial district at that time. The planning board did review this request at their meeting last month, and they unanimously recommended approval as submitted. Staff is also recommending approval based on the fact that while this is not consistent with the future land use map where it shows heavy industrial, we do feel that HB zoning will allow the property to be developed in a way that's compatible with the changing land use character of the area that includes surrounding industrial and commercial uses. This is the end of staff's presentation and recommendation, as well as the planning board. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. And again, the applicant is here this evening.
Can you just step back for a second or two, or go back to the land use that we passed recently? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anybody have any questions, Ms. Hare?
Can you say what you said again about it's not consistent, but what did you say after that?
It's not consistent with the land use map that shows the property is industrial, but we do feel that what's being requested, the highway business, is consistent with other properties along Highway 21 in this area. This is a corridor that we're seeing a lot of changes in, and there's other commercial properties in the area that have either recently been approved by council and that we're going to start seeing construction on here in the near future. We feel like what the applicant's requesting does fit. Also, the size of these properties, I don't know what type of industrial use you might get here, but we feel like the HB zoning does fit the area.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And does anyone wish, well, the applicant, sir, again, would you like to speak to this rezoning? Thank you very much. Does anyone have a question, to the applicant regarding the rezoning application request? Looks like you're all scot-free. All right, anyone from the public? Again, you're scot-free, sir. Okay, at this point in time, I will close the public meeting and ask if there are any further concerns or discussion from the council.
I would agree with Director Hare. I don't see how that parcel could be developed properly under its current zoning or based on the future land use plan. I think I do agree that highway business is probably, just based on the size and the location of the parcel, it's probably the best option there. Especially considering once you pointed out the other frontages that are going to start popping up there, I think it's going to be right in line with everything else that's been passed in that area. That's all.
And I agree, especially like you say, Tractor Supply right across the street, all that fits in that area.
Right.
And then you got the industrial, heavy industrial all around it back there in the warehousing, which hopefully we're going to see starting someday soon.
I'm sorry, wait.
I said hopefully we'll see that starting someday soon.
Exactly. Anyone else have a question or concern? Okay, all right, and I'll ask one more time before I call for the vote. Anything one more from staff that has maybe jumped up in your mind that you'd like to add?
No, sir, I think we've said everything we have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, at this point then, I will ask for a motion concerning the rezoning, RZ 2304, Troutman Commercial Properties.
I'll make the motion that we consider ordinance 2623 titled an ordinance changing the zoning classification of the after described property from Iredell County Residential Agriculture, RA, to Town of Troutman Highway Business, HB.
All right, I've had a motion. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
First and a second. Any discussion before I call for the vote? Hearing none, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Passed unanimously. The property is now annexed and rezoned as per the applicant's request.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Consistency statement, thank you, ma'am. Could I please have someone from the council read the consistency statement?
Rezoning to highway business is consistent with the 2035 future land use map and with the current land use pattern of the area. The request is consistent with the currently adopted Unified Development Ordinance. The request is reasonable and in the public interest as it proposes to allow commercial development in areas of Troutman where it is appropriate.
You have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
First and second to the consistency statement. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the consistency statement as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The consistency statement has been passed unanimously. All right, we will now move, let's see here, down to, I believe, item 19, sir. Text amendment, case number TA 2308, applicant Mad Monkey Garage. Ms. Hare?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. This is a application that we received from a business owner for a text amendment to our development ordinance, specifically to Article 621 and 622 of our UDO. They are requesting that murals be added as a permitted sign type in the HI district. The applicant's requesting this text amendment to allow murals in this district, or excuse me, I apologize, I misspoke. On your staff report, it also references a text amendment for murals to be allowed in the HB district. That applicant did. I spoke to her on Tuesday. She withdrew her application. So this evening, the only text amendment that is before you for consideration is amending the ordinance to allow it in HI. So I wanted to point that out. This is a text amendment. If approved, it will allow murals to be allowed on all HI zone property in the town, not just on the applicant's property. I want to just state that, that's something that you all need to consider, that if approved, if you all would like to consider this would allow murals in all of our HI districts. So it's not just specific to the Mad Monkey Garage. This request was made by the owner of that garage. His name is James Amico. He's the applicant this evening. He's the business owner and he would like to maintain the mural that's on his property. Mad Monkey is zoned HI, which is a little unique because of where it's located, but it's been zoned that way for a very long time. The owner had a mural painted on his building before he knew that it was not permitted there. Our code enforcement officer went out and had a conversation with him, and he came to me to see how can we rectify this. And really the only way to do so would be to do a text amendment to say that murals are allowed in that HI district. Currently, murals are only allowed in our neighborhood commercial and our central business districts by right, and they're also allowed in our mixed-use district as a conditional use. So that's something that you all would have to approve individually. The planning board did review this. They did recommend approval with some specifics. They wanted to make sure that all murals, if we did allow this, that they would have to go to our design review board for the size, the content, the language, the color, and the maintenance. I don't know that we could allow, the design review board could comment on the content or the language, but they could have a comment on the size, the color, and the maintenance of them. They also asked that town staff look at other municipalities, which is something that we had done previously, and that the text amendment would allow that this amendment would apply to the CB district only. And I think their intent there was to say that murals in the CB district would be reviewed by the design review board as well. So that's planning board's recommendation. This is really a text amendment that you all have to decide as a board what your policy is towards murals, where you would like those to be located in town. So that's the end of staff's presentation, but I'm glad to answer any questions. I do not know that the applicant is here this evening.
I would just like to add to the staff report, the Planning and Zoning Board's recommendation, as we discussed at the pre-agenda Monday, at least part of their recommendation is not in keeping with what we interpret the federal government statutes or court's orders on things such as for the design review board to determine content. As we spoke with our town attorney, that's a very slippery slope. And while the intentions of what they were trying to accomplish, I understand and certainly applaud their efforts, that's certainly something that we cannot honor, even if you wanted to, without finding ourselves libelous. Also, I would like to add that while this current mural was being painted, is when the tenant was notified that it was not allowed by ordinance, and the artist, and I'm assuming the tenant, decided to continue painting instead of ceasing and desisting as they were asked to do until some decision could be made by you all once the process was explained.
Then one question on 3 under recommendation 3. Text amendment will also apply to CB. What about our neighborhood central district?
For whatever reason, the planning board did not include that. I don't know if that was just an oversight on their part. You all, of course, can add that if you so choose to go with this
That has been.
That is correct.
CB and NC has been.
Yes, that is correct.
What is staff's recommendation on adding NC back in?
If you all consider making this amendment, then yes, I think it would be a good idea to have some more oversight on these murals. Absolutely. So I would, if we're going to do that in the CB district, I think we should do it in NC as well.
But you folks heard, so I mean, whoever makes the motion will be the will of the council. Keep that in mind. You want to add back in the neighborhood central category or not, in addition to central business. All right. Folks, we've heard from staff.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I apologize, Mayor Pro Tem, and their attorney can advise otherwise. You do not have to take action. If the request is made, you all do not have to make a motion one way or the other.
Okay. All right, folks, the applicant is not here. We've heard from staff. Anybody here on the council would like to have comments or concerns?
I just had one question, Lynn. The applicant is the tenant, not the owner of the building, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So we haven't heard from the owner of the building or anything about it?
Yes, just to remind you of the agenda meeting Monday, 2 of the 6 owners of the building stated they did not want the gorilla
2
on
out
their
of 6.
building.
And then I'd like to ask a question. From Monday's meeting, we had a discussion, since we can't control content and language, what's in these murals, when Councilman Oxford asked that question about how many was in HB and the HI areas, and there was a number.
About 40%.
Or greater, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so we'd open up a lot of space with areas that we can't control the language that may show up on a mural and the content. That's something we can't regulate. So my thoughts are, I'm a personal disagree with murals anyhow, but to have them out there in all these HB buildings and HI, which means the business department just put in, and some of these other ones, and we couldn't even control the content that's on those in language. I just would say we leave this alone. It stays where it is today, and then we go back to the person that said, hey, don't ask for forgiveness when you were told you couldn't do it to begin with. Get it off of there.
Anyone else? Sir.
So our code enforcement agent advised not the owner, but the renter of the building to stop the mural from where it was from being finished. Am I 100% correct with that, or it was current, or it was already done?
While it was being painted, he advised them that it was not allowed to be there. He did not advise them to stop. He just advised them that it was not allowed by our town ordinances. The mural artist started citing federal law and came up here to, as his words, educate us because we were confused. And we educated him as to what the ordinances were, and the work continued.
Total disregard then for our ordinance.
Yes.
All right, at this time and point, I am going to call for the public hearing on this. Even though the applicant's not here, I don't know if anyone from the public would like to speak to it, but I'll call for the public hearing. Applicant's not here to speak. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address this issue concerning the mural at the Mad Monkey Auto Repair Shop at the corner of Eastway and Church Street?
Mayor Pro Tem, just a correction. Even though that is the applicant requesting, it is not specific to just that mural. It is murals.
Correct, yeah.
Period. It's not specific to that.
All right, do know this would be, if there were changes, it would apply to all in the HI district as well as any other district, whether it be neighborhood, central business, neighborhood central, or none. So, again, though, there's no one from the public. All right, at this point in time, then I will close the public hearing, and I will just one more time ask for any discussion before I call for a motion, any more discussion from the council. All right. At this point in time, then, I will ask for a motion concerning this text amendment, whether to do anything or leave it alone.
Well, I'll make a motion, we recommend no change to the UDO, leave it as is, and ask this person to remove his gorilla off that building.
Heard the motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, have a first and a second. Any discussion before I call for the vote?
Is this
I
a,
would suggest you amend the motion to just to deny the request. And leave the other part out.
Okay.
But we still need to get it.
Because you're still dealing with whether it should be in all of H&I, not just that specific product.
Okay. Then I'll recommend that we deny the motion to change it to HB and HI, leave it as is, in the UDO.
Are you okay with that?
I will second that motion.
Okay, so we've had amended motion, seconds agreed to the amended motion. Again, any discussion before I call for the vote? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, the motion has been passed to deny.
And then I guess we need a consistency.
Do
we need that?
Do we need a consistency statement since we, okay, please.
All I'll make a motion to deny the request due to the inconsistency of the change into HB, HI, and our land use map and Unified Development Ordinance.
Okay.
And it would not be in the public interest to do so.
All right, okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a first and second. Any discussion on our consistency statement as presented in the motion? All right, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor of the consistency statement as made in the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, the consistency statement has been passed. And we will now move to our next item. Give me just a second here, and that being item number 20. And once again, I will turn it over to our planning director, Ms. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. This again is a text amendment to our UDO, specifically to Article 5.1.5. The requested amendment would be to require a landscape berm on the perimeter of all new single-family residential subdivisions where they're adjacent to public streets. This is a request that's being made by staff. Staff recognizes the community's desire for increased streetscape throughout the town. We feel that buffering new single-family homes from main roadways will increase the aesthetics of the town, as well as protect new homeowners from noise and lights coming from adjacent roadways. We've heard from several community members that they would really like to see an increase in streetscape and this type of thing. Other communities in nearby areas also require this type of landscaping. So we are recommending this change. The planning board also heard this at their last meeting, and they recommended approval with no changes, but recommended it as written. If you have any questions, I'm happy to address those.
Any questions for our planning director?
I'll just mention that I had to drive to Mooresville yesterday. As you pass, after you turn on 21 by the fire station, after you pass Shepherd, and you go down that road, you see land, the berms, there are two different developments there, and it does make a lot nicer appearance with those neighborhoods behind those berms, coming off 21.
My only question is something we touched on Monday, but I don't think we ever put a nail in it. On page 2 of the little subset of the packet, we've got, Article 5.1.5, Type A landscaping. Part D, it says a landscape berm will be required in the perimeter, blah, 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 not blah, blah, blah. That's not the part I want. Specifications for the size, height, and required landscaping for the berm can be found in the Troutman construction standards. All right, so what would be the values that are found in those standards?
What is in the standards, they're really engineering requirements for the berm, and will actually provide a cross-section, which is a drawing that shows how wide the berm has to be, how tall it has to be, and will also include landscaping requirements for it, just to make sure that there is landscaping that will be on this berm. If they're not built to engineering standards, they can fail. So we wanted to make sure that that's going to happen. And we felt like the best way to handle that was just to provide these developers, when they come to us, with the cross-section so they know exactly how much room they have to leave between the right-of-way and their lot, so they can include this in addition to any sidewalk that's going to need to be placed. So we felt like that was the best way to handle it.
So is there like a minimum height or minimum width?
I believe
as far as
we're
the
talking
standards?
about doing between 5 and 6 feet. And usually a 6-foot berm at the base is usually about 30 feet. It's pretty wide to get a berm that high.
Okay, but there will be a minimum.
There will,
Okay,
yes.
good.
That's what I was reaching for the other day in our agenda briefing, and at any rate, then we'll have vegetation, dense vegetation on top of that to add to that height. Am I correct?
Yes.
Anyone else? All right, at this point, then I will open the public hearing to this UDO application for change. And we've heard from Ms. Hare, and I will ask if the public would like to, anyone in the audience and public would like to step forth and have a comment. Kim, I don't think I've been asking you, but have we got anything in the mail or online? All right, okay. At this point in time, then I will close the public hearing and once again ask the council if they have any further questions or concerns they'd like to express before I call for a motion. Okay. At this point in time, then we have heard from Ms. Hare, and the public has not spoken directly to it, so we'll go with what we have, and I will ask if there is a motion from one of our council members concerning this amendment, text amendment.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, this will be a text amendment, case number TA 2309. Request, then I'll just go up. Gary, do I need to read the whole thing out, or can we just go with just the...
Use to approve ordinance 30-23. That's all you need to say.
Okay. You have that, Kim? Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
1 second.
All right, I have a first and a second. Any discussion before I call for a vote? All right, hearing none, I'll call for the vote then. All of those who approve of the motion are for it. please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, motion has been passed, and the text amendment is in part of the record now. All right, let's see here.
Consistency.
All right, consistency statement, thank you. I don't know why I have trouble trying to remember that, even though I've got it marked here clearly. At any rate, may I have a motion for a consistency statement?
I'll read that, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I make a motion regarding consistency of this action, that this text amendment is consistent with the 2018 strategic plan and the Unified Development Ordinance, and reasonable and in the public interest, as it would provide language that will contribute to the town ability to create an attractive streetscape.
All right, we've heard the motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have first a second to a statement of consistency. Any discussion before I ask for a vote? All right, hearing none, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor of the consistency statement motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, the consistency statement has been passed unanimously. And now, let's see here, we will skip over the next one for our amendment adjustments. Village, I believe, we are down to the public comment section.
No,
Number 23.
23.
23 and 24,
Very good.
or 25.
Let me get my proper papers
I like
out for
your
that.
thinking.
Number 23 is, we are asking you all to consider a motion to allow our town attorney to initiate eminent domain for a sewer pump station against Dependable Development Incorporated and/or successors at Sutter's Mill, located at Westmoreland Road, to obtain an appraisal and an offer based on the appraisal.
My
You all have
apologies
the
for-
paperwork in your packet.
Thank you, sir. My apologies for not seeing that. I skipped right over it after between Wakefield and the other matter. All right, thank you very much for calling that to my attention. I appreciate it. All right, do I have any discussion in this matter? Okay, we have heard from our town manager concerning anything else, sir, you'd like to add to that before I ask for a vote? All right, hearing none, then I will call for the vote,
Motion.
the motion, excuse me. All right, eminent, for the eminent domain, authorizing our town attorney to initiate the eminent domain for the sewer pump station. Do I have such a motion?
I will, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I move that the town attorney be authorized to initiate an eminent domain action against Dependable Development and successors for a sewer pump station at Sutter's Mill and Westmoreland Road. I further move that the town engineer is authorized to engage in design and surveying work for the project, and that BBG and Brian Bryant be engaged as real property appraiser on the project, and upon appraisal, that the appraised amount be deposited with the clerk of court per statute.
All right, we've heard the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, a first and second. Any discussion before I ask for a vote? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor of the motion as presented concerning eminent domain on the sewer pump station, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion is passed unanimously. Okay,
We now have item number 25,
Aye.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, sir.
HOA President would like to, well, I just passed it right on by where she was at. Can you back that up, Mike? There we are. Yes, ma'am, come on up. If you haven't signed in already, please do, and tell everybody your name and proceed.
Yes, sir, I signed in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Catherine Waters, and I'm the secretary of the HOA board for Berrien Stevens Village. And we are looking to close just a small portion of April Showers Lane, so it will not impede any traffic going around Winter Flake at all. And we're looking to do that October 29th for 4 hours. It's a Sunday afternoon, so we can hold our fall event for our neighborhood residents.
And I'm sorry, what was the time period again?
It's 4 hours from 2 to 6 p.m., 1 hour for setup, 1 hour for cleanup, and the actual event will be from 3 to 5 p.m. that day.
And those two people realize they can't go anywhere for 4 hours, right?
Well, and actually, so Antoinette, right here, she's also on the board. Her house is the one to the right, the driveway to the right. And then the driveway to the left, she's already discussed with the people who live in that home, and they are okay with that, and they can park on Winter Flake. And it will not impede the driveway that's where the blue barricade sign is there. So it's exactly what we did last year.
So any folks that would be impacted have agreed to this closure?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have any questions? All right, do I have a motion regarding this request?
I make a motion that we allow them to close that street off for that event on Sunday, the 29th of October, from 2 to 6 p.m. And thank them for actually going through and putting the process forward first.
Okay, do I have a second to the motion? All right, we have a first and second. Any further discussion?
One thing I did forget to ask, Chief, any issues that we need to watch out for? Everything looks good?
There's still plenty of access for emergency vehicles.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure. All right, well, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign of opposed. Hearing none, motion is passed unanimously. You're good to go. Thank you, thank you.
Have fun.
All right, I am making sure I have not overlooked anything else, unfortunately, and I have not, I don't think, sir, but I will look around at our town attorney and town manager to make sure. Public comments are our next one, all right? So, if we will, the public is invited to address the town council with comments or concerns. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per individual. Speakers are required to sign in at the podium and are required to adhere to the town policy, number 51, titled Policy Governing Comments from the Public at Town Meetings. So at this point in time, we'll ask whoever would like to address us to please step forward.
Well, Your Honor, I signed in, but I will defer until October.
Well played. I started to say, when you were signing in earlier, I started to say something, but I said, no, I will not. I'll let you find out later.
So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to address the town council? All right, hearing none then, I will, at this point in time, I will ask for town comments from our town council members before we close.
I'll just say thanks for allowing us to have a shorter meeting this month. It looks like October's gonna be a little bit rougher, but
Bring dinner.
so my wife chose not to feed me dinner before I came today, so I'm kind of glad we had a short meeting. Usually I always eat before I come here, but the other thing is credits to Tanya for being our employee of the month. I think it's very, very good. If you've ever been to our office, I hope you found this group in there being a lot cheerful in there. Even, you know, they're very helpful too. So I've enjoyed it. I thank her for being there. That's all I have.
I just wanted to echo again what I said on Monday, just in case someone didn't hear it. It's football season, and I love seeing so many people out at the football games and supporting our South Iredell team. And again, I'll have to say my son is in the band, so just listening to the band and just being out there, I just love that environment. I'm such a geek, such a nerd, so I love it. The parade, I really enjoyed the short parade that we had out there and seeing everybody out there. And also enjoyed seeing everybody at our fair, I said our fair, that we had on last week. So as y'all can tell, I'm always the one doing the mushy stuff because I love our town, so great to see everybody out there.
I'm going to piggyback on what Felina said. It was great to see the good community support and turnout for the Iredell County Fair. I think everyone that went had a good time, and the Kiwanis put on a good fair. So thank you to them, and thanks for the community coming out.
Likewise, myself and family had a blast at the fair. I didn't get to eat all the sweets that me and Felina are usually chatting about at agenda briefing. But, and yeah, even though we had a short meeting, I still managed to wreck my jelly beans. So some things never change, so, but no, that was good, that was good. Thank you, that was all, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone tonight. Don't do this as often as I guess I should to be a little bit more accurate, and I appreciate folks helping me out when I seem to skip over something, and thank you very much, and I appreciate it, and we get through it, and we get the job done, and that's what's important. So again, thank you, and kudos to what everyone else said. I agree wholeheartedly. Thank you very much. Staff?
First of all, I'd like to apologize to everybody for this air. We didn't have air working properly Monday, and it feels like, and as everybody can tell, they got it working excellent now. But the chief got up and adjusted it, so for everybody that was freezing, I'm sorry. We'll turn it over to Austin Wall to go first for staff.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, thank you. The Public Works Department has been very busy again this past month. August 31st, we had our annual state sewer inspection with NCDQ. They check our records from the past 3 years, from monthly pump station inspections to the percentage of annual jetting, etc., to make sure everything is documented. Then, two of our employees, Jason Edwards and Todd Hardy, took the inspector to the field for a few hours to look at different pump stations, wet wells, high priority lines, and so on. This was another year that they gave us a very good report. We also, on the wastewater side, have continued to mow and spray the majority of our right-of-ways, as well as marking each manhole. The guys have repaired a few damaged manholes to keep from having infiltration into the sewer system. We did some repairs at Westmont Pump Station, including repairing the main door to the housing and installing a new exhaust fan. They pumped out multiple wet wells with the new vac truck. We installed the new fall banners on the greenway, not the new, default banners on the greenway. Continue to spray weeds, limb trees, spray town parking lots. As usual, we continue to keep up with town lots, greenway, mowed, and trash pickup. We're slowly making our way through town, replacing damaged or faded street signs, and also installing all street poles at a standard 8-foot height to keep the signs uniform. We began to paint crosswalks on Rumble Street and will continue in that way. We did various sewer and water taps as well as irrigation taps. Also replaced a few broken meter boxes, repaired 2 water leaks, set 57 new water meters, replaced 12 water meters, and did 55 new home inspections. We serviced approximately 10 PD cars as well as a few public works vehicles and some diagnostics, served various pieces of lawn equipment, and continue to check generators at all facilities. Thank you.
Any questions for Austin?
I think you covered it. Good job.
I appreciate the new version of the reports.
Yeah.
Emily Watson is next with Parks and Rec.
Something that Austin did, thank you. Something that Austin left off, you'll remember, at our last meeting, we spoke about the crosswalk lights that Adam and I had started on that project, trying to research a solution to get flashing lights at our crosswalks. Those came in, so we're working next week to get those installed. So Austin's got a plan in place to help us get those installed. So that's something to look forward to, because that's something that we know has been a problem for a number of years, and so now we have a solution, and we'll be putting that in place. So look for those. There'll be some communication for those too, going out on our social media and on our website as well. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. But that is one thing he did forget. As comprehensive as he was with the rest of it. Our Parks and Rec staff has been working on fertilizing the fields, staining bathroom floors in the park. That's something, even though our pavilion's been up since 2016, there's still a few things that are still left undone. So we're slowly catching up. Replacing dated signage in the park and things that have faded along the greenway, and then painting the restroom walls. So also been working on website updates and revisions. And then also building our new Civic Rec software that you all may remember approving a few months ago, that will go live at the beginning of the year. So that's our new registration software. So that will get us up to date to this century, so we won't have such an antiquated process. So that's been a beast, but we'll go live at the beginning of the year. Youth sports are back in full swing, so our park is busy, busy, busy every night of the week. There's 8 soccer teams every night, and then there's at least 2 baseball teams. We're also have cheerleading and some flag football as well. So that's field care and maintenance and preparing for upcoming events. And the upcoming events that we have are the Iredell County Walk for Recovery. Debbie did want me to mention that. She's on the planning committee for that. She's unable to be here tonight, but they wanted me to make sure that the public was aware of that event. They do have a Facebook page for that, and it is September 30th, the Iredell County Walk for Recovery. It's here in our park, and it's open to the public. There's free food. I know they do a number of giveaways and things, so check Facebook for the event information on that. We do have a Halloween costume swap this year that the Rotary Club in the town are pairing on. This is an opportunity for people to clean out their closets. Costumes that you've worn or costume pieces that you've worn once that you don't plan to wear again or that you've outgrown, please come and donate them to the town. We're collecting here, and families that maybe don't want to spend a fortune or maybe can't spend a fortune, you're welcome to come shop for a costume. You don't have to make a donation in order to come pick out your costume, and everything is free. So we will do that on the 13th of October. You're welcome to come to Town Hall and pick out your pieces, but between now and October 12th, you can come make your donations.
Brilliant. It's a
Yeah.
brilliant idea.
Right, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So I'm excited. I hope we do get all the donations that we need. That's the piece that I'm hoping does come together. I hope we get plenty of donations. But you know, you see like the prom dress donations similar to this. You see that for prom, but we've never seen a Halloween costume swap.
Right.
And so you know, you wear a costume once and then you either donate it or throw it away. But hopefully it can go to good use. We've been working with Rotary Club on this. So, if you have any costumes that you're not ever going to wear again or pieces that you don't think you'll wear, bring them and leave them here at Town Hall. We have a collection box out in the lobby. So that's now through October 12th. The Wicked Fast 5K, we're on our 6th year of that. $20 a person. That includes your t-shirt and your participant medal. Registration's on Run Sign Up again. All this is on Facebook and the website. Same time and place, 6 p.m. at the Downtown Depot. So join us for that. You don't have to be fast. You can walk, crawl, stroll, whatever. But that's always a lot of fun in town, and families look forward to doing that together annually. And then trails and treats. So be sure to come out for that on Halloween Day from 4 to 6. If there's any businesses or nonprofits or organizations that want to join us to be a vendor, just let me know, and we'd love to have you. So be sure to join us for that. We're working in partnership with Safe Kids of Iredell County for a car seat and inspection that, I don't know if, I did not know this even as a parent, but more than half of car seats are not installed properly. So drive through on November 7th, and they will check your car seat for you, make sure that it's installed properly. We do have certified car seat inspectors on staff here, but they need to get a few credits, and some of the classes are full this fall, so that's why Safe Kids is going to come out, but our inspectors will also be here as well. So join us on November 7th if you have someone in a car seat that needs to get inspected, and they'll be here at Town Hall. And that is all I have. Call me or email me with questions. Thank you to everyone who helped with the parade. As small and as simple as that is, it's still not simple. It takes a lot of help and a lot of volunteers and police support for road closures, and so I appreciate everyone who volunteered, and of course the police department for staying late and coming in early to support that, and I know South Iredell appreciates it.
So one question for you. I've been seeing a lot of vehicles over by the Parks and Rec building. How close are you now?
I have no idea.
It's just like, well, they got a lot of workers over there at this
We
time.
don't know, but I'm excited about it.
It's got to be getting closer when you see that many different ones.
Yeah, I hope.
I think it's going to be a great improvement for us.
Yeah, looking forward to hosting some programming over there this fall and winter. So hopefully soon. Fingers crossed. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. As usual, finance is very boring compared to these other departments. But so, like every other department, we've just been busy as well, and we're trying to get our fiscal year 23 audit wrapped up. They're still working on that, and I'm working on a few things still to give him. But he said he's making good headway on our financials, and so hopefully, I don't know if it'll be at the October meeting, but hopefully at that November meeting they can present our audit to us. So fingers crossed on that. But as far as everything else goes, just normal day-to-day operations. Just trying to improve our processes day in and day out. And again, I want to say congratulations to Tanya for being Employee of the Month. That's a good honor, and we had several good nominations for that. So for Tanya to get that speaks volumes. But I'll be happy to answer any questions from y'all.
Turn it over to Lynn with planning and zoning.
George, you're the only one that didn't get dinner, it looks like.
Yes, just the planning department, we're still busy doing permitting and reviewing plans. I have a whiteboard in my office where I keep a list of all my public hearing items, and it is really full right now. We've got a lot of public hearings coming up, not just the ones that were supposed to be heard this evening, but we have some other new ones. One in particular is there's going to be a new phase presented to you all for, it was Rocky Creek, but now it's Norman Creek. So you'll be hearing that in the next couple months. I wanted to mention that is a conditional zoning, so there's a community meeting for that. That'll be this Thursday night at 6. If any of y'all are interested, it'll be here in this room. We've been working a lot with developers on getting greenways finalized. One thing that's really exciting is that we're starting to see a lot of connectivity starting to happen on the south side of town, I guess I always get it, or east side. There's the Sutter's Creek development they're working on right now, hopefully going to be starting on putting their greenway trail in, which will attach to the greenway that's already been built in Weathers Creek. We spoke this week with Westmoreland Village about finalizing their greenway trail. So you'll be able to get from that Westmoreland Village development there off of Westmoreland Road all the way down almost, to that Weathers Creek project. The exciting thing is once we start to see some development happening there at 77, we'll have that greenway trail that goes all the way to the interstate. We also have a really cool opportunity there with the old rail trellis that goes under some railroad tracks under 77 to bring that greenway under there. So that's something we're really starting to see, these greenways start to happen. Thankful to council as well as people who are in this position previously who had the forethought to create these plans, and we're starting to see that come together, so that's exciting. Speaking of trails, at last month's meeting you directed staff to me about the Cheryl's Path project that Ms. Getzinger spoke about. I wanted to thank Councilmember Hinkle and Ms. Harris for being there at that meeting. It was a good discussion, and hopefully we'll be able to get that easement finalized and some things happening there. So that was a good meeting. I just wanted to mention that we were able to follow up on your directive and get that taken care of. Still working on our mobility plan. One thing, there's a couple cool things coming out of that. I think we're going to hopefully have an opportunity for some grants that we might be able to discuss with you all in the near future. And that mobility plan is really going to help us in that area. When you have a plan that's already drafted, is already taken into consideration some of these intersection improvements, it really helps when you go for grants. So hopefully we'll be able to see some fruits from that soon, and we'll be bringing that to you shortly. Another cool thing is that our consultant on that mobility plan put in a request to present it at the North Carolina APA conference. So that is going to happen next month in October. And Andrew's going to go along with her, with Aaron, to present the mobility plan process at the APA conference. So that's something really exciting, and will bring some attention to Troutman as well. And I think that's about it. Still working on that UDO. I'm going to be we just keep having these public hearings. I don't want to throw all that on you, and we've had all these big public hearings, so I'm hoping towards the end of the year I'll be able to bring some chapters of that I've been working on and finish. For your review and hopefully approval. some things have come out, excuse me, of this mural situation that have really brought to our attention that we really need to work on our sign ordinance as well. So I think that's probably something I'm going to dive into here that I hadn't planned on doing as quickly. And I think that's something we really need to take a look at to make sure that we're in compliance with that sign ordinance. So, but that's all. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
A couple, the greenways you mentioned, Sutter's Mill and Weathers Creek, they are tied into the Carolina Thread Trail?
I'm not sure, not those sections, no.
Not those sections?
No, sir. And I think once we get to a certain point, they probably will, because if I'm not mistaken, the trail out here is part of the Thread Trail. So if it runs all the way down 21, I don't want to misspeak, but I think that once it gets to a certain point, it may tie in.
Come in for discussion last night at the Transportation Committee. Andrew may have mentioned that to you today, and they were talking about other communities and trying to tie it in to where you just, several hundred miles of continuous.
It is supposed to eventually be, but it is not currently. It's like a pencil line that can be moved, but it is penciled that once the system is there, the intent was it could be added, but it is not adopted. Is the best way I can answer that.
So it's still fluid and
Yes.
moving. Okay. And one other thing on Cheryl's Path, after our meeting, I drove down there and I could very clearly see the path on one side of the street where it crossed over. I think it was Treeway Street or something like that. The other one I couldn't see so clearly, and I was tempted to get out and walk, and I said, be my luck, I get in there and get turned around and, somebody come help me, get me out of here. But it was very clear on that one side. It was, the Cheryl's Path was just very clear, and so I'm looking forward to continuing on that, but it's very interesting. Like I said, I'd heard about it for a number of years when they first proposed that development down there, but never had really been down there to see it or walk it or anything, and it's quite interesting, Thank you.
Anything else? Chief Watson.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, in August, the police department responded to 497 calls for service. This was a 35% increase from the month of July. Some of that was traffic-related issues due to school being back, but of the calls, the majority of them were standard police calls that had, were not necessarily associated with traffic issues. We had several incidents occur. In August, there was one incident in which 9 homes under construction in a development were broken into. They actually had been closed in and were dry, and items stolen. The patrol officers were able to develop leads that night, and it led them and their investigator to be able to arrest 2 suspects the next day with for 18 felony charges. We also had 2 officers attend general instructor school, so we'll have a total of 3 officers at the department that are general instructors. So all of our training can be totally in-house. We can do, there'll still be specialized stuff we send people to Mitchell or Justice Academy or other community colleges for, but our in-service and firearms is all, we're self-reliant now. One of those also attended Defense Technologies less lethal instructor class, which was a week-long class, and he got we got to be gassed with tear gas and pepper sprayed several times to be able to then teach these things and bring on some other less lethal technology to the department. Our 2 canine handlers that were selected went to Ventosa Kennels at the end of the month in August and selected the 2 dogs that we will be training. They came back, the dogs are still there. They'll complete their training with the dog training. Then at the end of October, our handlers will go down for a 6-week handler course. It's in Scotland Neck, North Carolina, about 3 hours away. They'll stay there 6 weeks, train with the dogs, and then they'll return and the dogs will be in service with us. Tonight, we had our first recruit from our recruit program graduate BLET tonight, and that will be Ian Mahalik, and we'll send his paperwork off to the state to get his certification, and he'll be sworn in once we receive that back. And then also yesterday, we worked with Mooresville Police Department and the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force engaged in a pursuit of a suspect who went out of Georgia for some violent crimes. the chase ended in Troutman with him jumping and running. We assisted them with setting up a perimeter, walking down Iredell Charter Academy as a precaution, and then Highway Patrol and the Sheriff's Office assisted as well and brought in air assets, and we were able to locate the suspect and arrest him.
Sounds like you're on top of things, as well as everyone else. In-house training is a big step forward. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, we're really glad. We're really happy about that.
Excellent work.
I appreciate staff, as you all heard their reports. They have all been extremely busy in their various departments. Also, again, thanks to Justin and Tanya for her recognition. And as he mentioned, we had several good nominees. I appreciate the employees that we have recognized thus far this year, and we are getting a couple to be re-recommended again. And that makes it tough, but that also shows the quality of staff that we have, that some keep showing up again and as to be considered again. A couple things for the public's knowledge as well as you as elected officials. As you ask about the Parks and Rec building, I wish we could tell you a percentage. I really don't know how to answer that. If I were to guesstimate, I would say it's about 90% complete. They're working on painting on the interior this week. They got the concrete drive done, but there's still some more concrete and asphalt to be done back there. Emily and I, multiple times a day, it seems, are called down to make the final, well, what about this and what about that? So that tells me they're getting to the tedious parts of completion, which will be a welcome thing because we are out of space bad, and I can't stress that enough. With some of the things that we have done and are doing, the law enforcement side are doing a great job, and even though you all invested in personnel, I guess it's about 2 years ago, a little over, when we first started the evidence technician position, and that did alleviate a lot of evidence. As the chief and I talked yesterday about it, that was good. It got us where we needed to be. Having an officer in that position now and doing evidence has certainly been more versatile and has helped us numerous occasions, as the chief has voiced to me several times. But now, because of the officers being as productive as they are and the cases backlog within the court system, we're out of space again. And now it's not an issue of getting rid of evidence appropriately, it's having to maintain it until it goes through and is adjudicated. And that is something that we have to adhere to pretty quick to make sure that process continues. The buildings downtown, the first one was bought somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 years ago. The renovations, we had moved the crew to the Parks and Rec building because we needed this space quicker. As it is nearing completion, they have started the deconstruction of the second unit that you purchased. They will start deconstruction of the upstairs. The downstairs is complete deconstruction wise. The upstairs construction will start within the next couple of weeks if we can come to terms with who will be doing that. And the design by the architect and the engineers for those buildings, I think everybody will be happy, and it'll be welcomed addition to our communities once it's done, which is next door to the passport office. Of course, it is open full-time or available to be full-time. It is appointments only, as we still have some work to get completed inside the building before we use it for its full purpose that we intend on because of staff and needing space. Luke is down there now. We asked him as he went to his cave because he seems to be not as interrupted as much down there now. But Lou is down there with the different personnel that is working passports, and a lot of people have complimented about a hidden gem of having the passport office for this area. And as people are driving by and seeing the sign, we're getting the messages asking, does that mean what it says it is there? So we've gotten feedback from that. And then I would like to also thank several of the department directors, as you have heard a couple mentioned this evening with the grants. Chief Watson has advised me of a couple things that he is trying to do over the next 6-month process that he and his staff have been doing to get ready to put us in better position for grants that hopefully we will be successful in the future. Lynn and Andrew are doing some things and a couple different avenues there. We got bad news on one just this past week that Andrew had tried for us, but we knew that was a slim chance to begin with. Emily, as you all know, was awarded a good grant. We appreciate that from Dix and the equipment that she's needing for that, or will use that grant for, is coming soon. But also Emily and I met with the architect and the plans for the concession stand and their phase of that. I think we finally communicated, I guess, to somebody to hear what we have been trying to say was in the park master plan and the ADA piece and all of that together. So with the volleyball courts getting completed, and even though we said it several times, we do appreciate all those partners that came together to make it a reality. But now this is the next piece that needs to be done in the Parks and Rec. So it's kind of, even though it's a different thing altogether, like Lynn was talking about the connectivity of the trails down there, seeing some of these other pieces start to come together with the Parks and Rec, to me, is also exciting for the town, and the comments that we're getting from the public that are finding out about what facility we have is awesome. I would also like to thank Emily. She constantly tells us she's not IT savvy. I think that fits me as far as anybody on the staff goes, but this computer program that she was talking about that Felina is familiar, I'm sorry, Council Lady Harris is familiar with, that's not something you can just tell the computer turn it on and it works. You have to be very intelligent on the programming of computer and make this thing happen. And in amongst all these other activities Emily has been doing, she's been doing that and building it also. So even though that's a program that will benefit our office multifaceted, most towns and counties have a person designated to do just that program. And as Emily and I talked about hiring somebody, it takes so much time to tell them all that you do to then translate it to put it in a program. I think sometimes it's just, well, let me just do it. And with everything else she's been doing, it has been a lot on her plate. But as it is getting nearing completion, I just wanted to thank her for that. Also, one thing I'd like to mention about this chase yesterday, even though it sounds kind of simple, in the chief saying in his report that this happened, U.S. Marshals and Mooresville Police and their fugitive task force from the Marshals being involved in this, when something like that happened and the agencies come out and a suspect flees, a lot of agencies normally do get involved, and that part's expected. But what normally don't happen is the chief of police to show up and the assistant police chief of Mooresville to show up, and they're out there working with their guys on the front line just like they was a new hired rookie, which was one of my sons there on the scene yesterday. So just for that experience to get to happen and our chief being there with the assistant chief in Mooresville, and then it be successful, even though the school, I hate that we live in an environment this day and time that we take 3 or 4 times the amount of precautions because of the deeds that have occurred in this country before. I applaud the fact that this charter school decided to hire an SRO first of all, that we had one on campus, and that our agency knew how to respond to a person that was this, had a history of the damage that he has caused in other areas, that our agency was able to respond in the way they did with all the agencies. And I'm not shortening any of the others that showed up. Highway Patrol had a helicopter there, and there was dogs running around, and a lot of agencies happened. But I would just like to point out that that was a lot of stuff that really was kind of plain once it happened. But I think it's the professionalism of all the agencies being there, and the fact that an assistant chief and chief will show up firsthand to help guide their officers by example is one of the reasons why this suspect was apprehended. But that's all I have unless you have questions.
One question concerning the passport office now, it had been by appointment only. Are you opening up to walk-ins, or what's the current lay of the land on that?
We are not open to walk-ins as of yet because of the staffing, even though we are trying to alternate staff. This week, for example, we couldn't because one of our staff had to not be here, and then that we couldn't vacate this office for it. That's one of the reasons why I don't know that we will ever truly say we will be a walk-in office there until it reaches a point that business is there to where we can dictate somebody full-time to be in that office. We prefer appointments only, but if somebody is there and a walk-in happens, they don't turn them away if they can get them in. But there are times that front door is locked and there's not a passport agent in the building. That's the reason we can't just say, yes, show up and we'll get you one. I hope that made more sense than it sounded.
It did. Any questions, more questions for town manager? All right then. Once again, I want to thank our members, staff, town attorney for their assistance in me getting through tonight's agenda. And like I say, the important thing is we got through it, we did it right, and I'm particularly there for that. So with that, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
And so I'll, after spending a little while yesterday, spending time talking to Betty Jean Troutman, remind me what an honor I have. I get to sit in her late husband's seat up at this table. So in memory of a former town leader and councilman.
Hang on one second. I got a text from the mayor that said, please ask Michael to read his comments.
Okay. Michael, if you would please read the mayor's comments.
He's been watching us.
Thank you.
He's winning.
Mayor Pro Tem Hinkle did a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Okay.
Yeah, so then I'll again say in memory of a former great town leader and town councilman that I sat in his seat today in honor of Jim Troutman, I make the motion we adjourn.
I'll second.
First and second, any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You stay here.
Well, I had the over, so.